What's up, Taiwan? I'm Jaime Ocon with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The head of Estonia's Foreign Affairs Committee says he'd welcome Taiwan setting up a representative office in his country's capital, Tallinn. Marko Mikkelsen is in Taipei as part of a delegation from the Baltic states. He spoke to our reporter, Stash Butler.
You're here with the Foreign Affairs Committee heads of Latvia and Lithuania. Both of those countries have representative offices that manage ties with Taiwan. Latvia has the Taipei mission, and Lithuania has the Taiwanese representative office. But Estonia doesn't have anything. Why not?
I would definitely would like to see Taipei's office to be opened in Tallinn as well, as it has been open in almost every EU member state. We have here in Taipei 16 representatives from different EU member states, including also EU Commission's representatives, and I think that this is certainly the area for us, as well as a small economy, to consider seriously. Maybe we should also open here our trade representative office. Our mutual trade currently between Estonia and Taiwan is around 100 million euros, which is for our size not that bad, and definitely there is a kind of potential to grow.
How worried are you about what China will do, given what happened with Lithuania, which lost 80% of its trade with China? Now, Estonia does about 1.4 billion euros worth of trade with China. Did that last year. Are you worried about putting that at risk?
Worry about what? When, again, you have to understand what kind of those technicalities are there if we are going to move ahead with, let's say, then if Taipei has an interest to open Taipei's office in Estonia, then this is the matter of discussion, obviously, back in Tallinn as well. But obviously, a small democracy or democracies like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, for us is vital to defend the rule-based world order. And in that regard, obviously, closer cooperation between democratic societies is absolutely the must.
That was Estonian lawmaker Marko Mikkelsen speaking with Stash Butler. China announced on Thursday that it would reopen group tourism to over 70 countries, but Taiwan wasn't on the list. Ed Moon takes a look at how a lack of Chinese tourism is impacting local businesses.
Yongkang Street is one of Taipei's busiest areas. It's filled with some of the capital's most popular restaurants, tea houses and souvenir shops. But it's not as busy as it once was. Before the COVID pandemic in 2019, these streets often saw people queuing out the doors of the most popular shops. But there's one big difference between then and now. No Chinese tourists. Both Beijing and Taipei stopped allowing Chinese tourists to visit Taiwan once the pandemic broke out.
曾经破纪录来我们这个永康商圈消费，他买那个文创品文创的东西，一个人一笔超过台币30万我们也很希望就是有中国大陆这边的观光客进来我们永康商圈。
In 2019, over 11 million tourists visited Taiwan, and among them, the largest number were from China at 2.7 million. Now, in the first 4 months of this year, with no Chinese tourists, there have been less than 2 million visitors. China has now announced it will allow group tours to resume to more than 70 countries, including Japan, the US and UK. But Taiwan wasn't on the list. Officials in Taipei say Beijing hasn't responded to calls to reopen tourism between the two sides.
我们并没有禁止我们的国人用自由行的方式到中国大陆。中共那边到目前为止一直不肯开放团客也好自由行，主管机关已经透过管道跟他们谈到我们相互的来开放，但是现在就说对方还没有正面的来回应我们，这是我们比较遗憾的。
With Taiwan set to go to the polls in January to choose its next president, Chinese tourists, or the lack of them, could become an issue at the ballot box too. For now, Those who rely on a thriving tourism industry can only wait and hope that politics won't get in the way. Devon Tai and Ed Moon for TaiwanPlus.
With less than 5 months to go until Taiwan's presidential elections, the country's future and its relationships with China and the U.S. are at stake. But with 3 parties' candidates competing for the top job, what can we expect from the winner? Well, to answer this, I spoke to Claire Zhao, a security analyst based in Washington, D.C.
If the Democratic Progressive Party, the DPP, does secure another victory, what can we expect in terms of Taiwan and U.S. cooperation?
Well, if the DPP wins again, we can expect continued economic and security cooperation between Taiwan and the U.S., whether in trade, investment, technological collaborations, or arms sales to improve Taiwan's self-defense capabilities. Lai Ching-te will also most likely to continue to follow the path that the Tsai administration has taken regarding Taiwan's relationship with the U.S., which is to seek greater engagement. But at the same time, even though he has said and try to reassure the public, including the U.S., that he will not seek to pursue independence and will maintain status quo if elected, the U.S. will still likely to keep an eye out on Lai Ching-te and make sure that he does not pursue any policies that threaten U.S. interests in peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, which, if he does, could potentially put a strain on U.S.-Taiwan relations.
If the opposition Kuomintang or KMT gets a win, what does this mean for cross-strait relations?
Well, if Hoyoyi wins, the CCP may be a bit more relieved than a DPP win, but it won't necessarily lead to easing of cross-strait tensions or a period of peace and stability. This is because the CCP will still be cautious when interacting with the KMT, especially if Hoyoyi continues to engage heavily with the US, which in that case will likely cause some degree of distrust between the KMT and the CCP. So it will largely depend on how Hoyoyi balances the interest of the Taiwan population while also trying to stay on good terms with both the US and China, which is a very challenging task given the environment that we're in.
Taiwan has never had a third-party win, so what can we expect from a Ko-Wen-Ze or a TPP win for U.S. and for Chinese relationships?
Well, if the Taiwan People's Party wins, first domestically, we can sense how frustrated the Taiwan population is with these 2 major parties. But the TPP, it brings a more neutral stance on cross-strait relations, which is more preferred by the U.S. because they don't want a party that seeks 2 pro-independence policies, but also they don't want a party that kind of maintains close ties with China. And Ko-Wen-Ze has openly advocated for both deterrence and dialogue with China, which I do believe that is what the U.S. likely would want to see, both dialogue, but at the same time, they don't want to be that close to the CCP. So we could expect some form of cross-strait dialogue under Ko-Wen-Ze that wasn't available during the Tsai administration. And this would be possible, actually, under his leadership because he previously engaged in dialoguing and exchanges with Chinese local governments while during his tenure as Taipei's mayor.
That was Claire Zhao, a security analyst based in Washington, D.C. Budget airline TigerAir has confirmed that one of its co-pilots fainted Monday after landing a flight from Japan to Taiwan. The plane landed safely and without delay in Taoyuan International Airport. The captain issued the emergency code PAN-PAN for his colleague during taxiing. This distress signal is 1 degree below Mayday in severity. The co-pilot was taken to the hospital and was discharged on the same day. The flight had 168 passengers on board, including 6 crew members. TigerAir says it will help Taiwan's Transportation Safety Board investigate the incident. Heavy downpours have continued across Taiwan, ending a months-long water shortage, but leaving many areas flooded. John Ventres has the latest.
It was too much, too fast. Heavy rain fell in the southern city of Tainan Thursday, flooding roads and homes. Residents say there wasn't enough time to react.
这些防水闸门每户用吗？
上班到一半冲回来移车。
The summer monsoon has taken over where Typhoon Kanun left off last week, dumping torrential rain on much of Taiwan's center and south. As of Friday morning, the south was still under a heavy rain warning. Northern Taiwan has seen sudden downpours too, with a severe thunderstorm over Taipei Thursday afternoon, flooding streets and disrupting some trains. In March and April, Taiwan was in a drought, with wildfires in places, and some reservoirs threatening to dry up. Just a few months later, and several reservoirs are nearly overflowing. The sharp change comes as Taiwan tackles its biggest outbreak of dengue fever in years. Standing water from the rains is acting as a breeding ground for the mosquitoes that carry the disease, making it harder to fight. In Taiwan, 2023 is shaping up to be a year of weather extremes. Kama Xu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
At least 53 people are dead and over 11,000 have been displaced after wildfires ravaged the island of Maui in Hawaii. Officials fear it could be the worst natural disaster in the U.S. state's history, with more than 1,700 buildings destroyed. The wildfires, which are now 80% contained, started on Tuesday night in the popular resort city of Lahaina. U.S. President Joe Biden has deployed military personnel to the island to help with relief efforts.
We have just approved a major disaster declaration for Hawaii, which will get aid into the hands of the people desperately needing help now. They've lost, anyone who's lost a loved one whose home has been damaged or destroyed is going to get help immediately.
A regional bloc of West African countries is activating a standby force following the military coup in Niger. The bloc says it was left with little choice after the junta refused to reinstate Niger President Mohamed Bazoum. The junta seized power in a coup in July and are holding Bazoum hostage. They've threatened to kill him if other countries intervene. Several nations have evacuated their citizens from Niger. On Thursday, Taiwan's foreign ministry said 2 Taiwanese nationals are preparing to leave. Elon Musk is being sued in Taiwan under the Justice Ministry's new guidelines on cannabis use. That says anyone advocating that marijuana use is harmless can be punished. Bing Wong reports.
Cannabis lawyer Zoe Lee, also the chairperson of Taiwan's Green Party, is making a show of suing Elon Musk for advocating online that marijuana use isn't harmful. She's come to the district court to file her case. This comes after the ministry announced that advocating marijuana use online, including in art and music, is punishable by law. Marijuana is illegal in Taiwan and is considered a Category 2 narcotic, along with opium poppy, coca, and amphetamines. Possession of the drug could land someone in prison for up to 2 years. Lee says this case is a matter of free speech in Taiwan.
I've never heard about you cannot speak on any issues or topic in public or on internet, ever. Now, like Ministry of Justice saying, we're not allowed to promote legalization of cannabis.
Taiwan's courts don't have jurisdiction over Musk's actions, and cannabis activists expect the case to be dropped. The Justice Ministry's new policy has faced much criticism from cannabis activists. They see it as a roadblock in a campaign to legalize marijuana in the country. Activists like Zoe Lee have been working overtime to spread awareness of these issues, and they hope a broader public debate will ultimately swing things in their favor. Justin Wu and Bing Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
An endangered sea turtle found injured outside the northern port city of Geelong has been released back into the wild. The Hawksbill sea turtle was found drifting in waters of Taiwan's northeast coast in May. The species is critically endangered. Rescuers found the turtle tangled up in fishing line and took it to an animal protection office. There, it was nursed back to health over the course of 2 months. The turtle was released into a conservation area in Taiwan's north, where experts hope it will continue to have a long and happy life. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave with the images of a rare white raccoon in Jiangsu, China. I'm Jaime Ocon. Take care and see you next time.
For more stories about animals in Taiwan, follow TaiwanPlus on Facebook and Twitter or download the TaiwanPlus app.